All right, this will be day 2 of the January 2017 Strength and Conditioning Program. Today we're going to focus on dips, deadlifts, and a few other complementary exercises. So for your warm-up, you're going to have 4 movements. You're going to go through each one of them twice, and the first one will be with your deadlift. I'm going to do some holds in the different positions of the deadlifts, and I'll talk about this in detail right now. So your deadlift motion, I'm going to use a bar, and I've already got some plates on there. Just start with some light plates, lightweight. Alternatively, you can use just a kettlebell and do kettlebell deadlifts. Okay, but generally you want your feet to be down underneath your hips. You're going to approach the bar, and the bar is going to stay really close to your legs through the range of motion. So I'm going to start with my shins pretty close to it, and then I'm going to go down. I'm going to hip hinge to get down in position for the deadlift. So watch now as I go back. I want you to watch my hips, my torso angle, and my knees. So my hips and knees go back. My torso angle comes forward, so my shoulders come forward. And this is where I'll end up. Now when I'm through the motion, I want to keep a neutral spine. So though I'm bending at the waist, my spine will stay in a straight line, neutral position. And that's really the name of the game here, is to try to keep your spine straight while you go for the lift. And so the key cues are to keep your hips back and keep your knees back so that you can use the back of your leg. You want to keep your abs braced. So you want to think about with this like you're wearing a belt around your waist and you want to push out against the belt. So you're not squeezing your abs in, you're actually pushing them out. That's going to create compression around your spine and stabilize your spine. And then the last cue is with your upper body, you want to think that you're pushing out, like you're locking your arms straight down, you're pushing down. You're going to flex your pecs, and it's going to flex your lats, and that's going to further tighten your core. And your eyes are going to look down at the bottom position. They're going to look down in front of you just a little bit. Now for the warm-up, I'm going to practice these positions. So first I'm just going to hang out at the bottom position for 10 seconds. Here I want my whole foot down. I want also my knees to be tracking out. I never want my knees to cave in like this. So knees are down, butt's back, eyes are looking forward, shoulders are pulled down. Then next, I'm going to lift the bar just a little bit off the ground. And I'm going to hold that position from here now that I have tension on my muscles. Then from here, you can see my body mechanics. On that little bit that I just lifted, my hips and shoulders were rising at the same rate, and my torso angle stayed the same. Now as I get past my knees and I finish through, you saw how my hips came forward and my shoulders went back. Now from the top, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I don't want my knees to come forward. I actually want my hips to come back. I'm going to press the bar back against my leg and my torso angle will come forward. Knees stayed out of the way and I can set the bar down. Okay, so you're actually just going to hold the 3 positions. The ground, a little bit off the ground, to the knee, actually it's 4 positions, then you'll hold the top position for the warm-up. The next, I'll do a dip hold. So for the dip, I'm going to use these 2 boxes of the same height side by side. If I had a bar to do dips on, I would use that, or if I had rings, I could do ring dips. But here I'll just use this box because this is something I know most people might have. If you're on a box, the problem is it's not great for your wrists. The best way to do it is I have my palms all the way to the end of the box. And what I'm going to do is I don't want my shoulders to shrug up or rotate forward. I actually want them to sit back. Sit my shoulders down and back. The first thing I'll do is just lift my legs up off the ground a little bit and then tap them back down. If you're feeling pretty confident with that, then you can lift your knees up off the ground and hold this position. Try to work kicking the legs out if you can, and then ultimately you want to work to getting a full L-sit position. You'll hold that for a couple of seconds. You want to hold that top position, and then you can also go down into the dip if you're feeling confident too. And here, your body will rotate forward a little bit, and I'll come down and hold the bottom position a little bit. And there you can use your feet and your legs as much as you want. But the bottom of the dip position is a very advanced motion. It's really difficult to hold your positioning without letting your shoulders rotate or shrug up. So if you're new to this motion, then just practice the top position first. Okay. Thirdly, we're going to do some ab rollouts. So if you have one of those little ab wheels, those ab wheels, you can use that for this. I don't have one. So I can also use a bar with plates on it, and I can do my ab rollout this way. And one thing you could do for this that's a little bit difficult, because you want to go as far as you can before your back starts to arch. So you don't want to get to the point where your back starts to arch. You've gone too far. So one thing you can do is I could set a box a little bit in front of me right at that sticking point, so I would stop, because if you go too far and you just fall all the way down, then you have to kind of reset yourself to come back up. So sticking a box there will stop you right at that point. And if you can go, ultimately you want to go all the way down to the ground, under control, but that's very difficult. It takes a lot of core strength and also lat strength to be out extended like that. So do 8 reps of that, and then the last one will be a single leg deadlift motion. Now on this one, there's a couple things that come into play. The first is your balance. So the first thing you want to do is just get into this position where you're hinging at the hip with one leg down. So even just working this position is going to be a good level for a lot of people. But now if you're able to, try to go down a little bit further and do this repetitiously, you can try that. So I want to keep my hand on my down leg, and I want to actively kick my up leg by squeezing my butt. And I'll continually squeeze my butt of my up leg while I'm doing this exercise. So I'm going to come down, and I only want to go down as far as I can while keeping my spine in a neutral position. So I don't need to go down all the way for a toe touch, and I certainly don't want to come out in front of me, because see, I've lost, my back is rounding now. So I don't need to go that far down. I'm just going to go down, maybe to balance, maybe to the top of my calf, and then I'll come back up from there. And if I can stay balanced the whole time, that's great. You may also hold onto a stick for balance and do this exercise. But that's a really good one for your whole leg, the stability of your whole leg. Okay, I'm going to go over the strength exercises for day 2 of the January 2017 Strength and Conditioning Program. So the big lift for today is deadlifts, and I talked in depth about the technique and mechanics for the deadlift in the warm-up video. But now I'm just going to talk more about the strategy in approaching the strength training. So the repetitions are going to change. You should mix up the repetitions each time. For the deadlifts, you don't necessarily need to do high repetition workouts for the deadlift. Stay on the side of lower repetitions and really focusing on your body mechanics. Something like 4 sets of 5, 5 sets of 5 is a good baseline for this lift. And no matter where you are, maybe you're doing sets of 8, or maybe you're doing sets of 2, but doing some warm-up sets of 3 to 5 repetitions is the way to go. So I'm going to take just a warm-up set here, 5 reps, and go through the motion. My hips back, shoulders are set. I take a breath in and lift. Keeping my knees out of the way. I'll tap down. I want to set the bar all the way down every rep. Coming from a dead stop on every rep will really develop your strength. And there's my set of 5. So then next I would add some weight, and you want to kind of have an idea for what you want to hit for your heaviest set of the day. So let's say I wanted to hit 200 for my heaviest set. I already got 115 on there, so maybe I'd try a set with 185, and then I would want to go to hit my set of 200. And the way I like to do this, and most of my programs they'll recommend 3 working sets. So my warm-up set of 115, my warm-up set of 185, and then when I get to 200, that's my first working set, and I'll do 3 of them. And I can either stay at that weight for the 3 working sets, but even better is to really challenge yourself on that first working set and then deload on the second set. Take about 5 to 10% of the weight off of there, and the same thing for the third set. So that's your deadlift. And then next you can break into 3 exercises you can do in a circuit style. So the first one is going to be, you're just going to come back, warm these up in the warm-up video for this workout, and now you can do some repetitions. So if you're new to this dip hold movement, you're just going to do a hold at the top and just try to hold this position and work your way out, work your way up to doing a full L-sit. You can also do repetitions of this exercise. So you go up, go down all the way, and then come back up. And this really, for me, this isn't a great setup. This is too low. So if you had higher boxes, you definitely want to use higher boxes, because you saw my knee running into the ground. I mean, that's okay. You can still get the strength work in that way, but something a little bit higher. Even I would want it to be about this high for me, some kind of bar or rings that I can kind of pop myself up into. But just focus on the technique on that one, and with your knees lifted up like this, the one added benefit is that you're going to be flexing your abs a little bit more. Whereas if you could straighten your legs, the proper mechanic would actually be to straighten your legs while you're pressing out on the dip. You flex your legs, flex your abs, and then really try to open this up all the way if you can. If you need to use band assistance, so if you have a bar that you can hang a band onto, you can step your foot into the band, and that can give you assistance. And so, or maybe you'll have access to one of those pull-up machines with weight assistance. That's also a good option. Anything you can do so that you can get the full range of motion on your dip. And so that's the first of the series. You're going to either accumulate 15 seconds at the top or do a set number of repetitions. The second one is a hip bridge. You can add weight to this exercise, but I'm just going to show you non-weighted. So, and I can either do 1 or 2-footed. So I'm going to start with 2-footed. My heels are down, my shoulder blades are down. Relax the head, and then I'm just going to squeeze my butt to lift my leg, and then come back down. And I don't want to round my back when I do this, or arch my back. I want to keep my spine neutral, so I got to squeeze my abs too. So go up, squeeze, and coming down. I can lift one leg straight up, and I can do the same thing, and this is quite a bit harder. And just extend your hip. So you can do those. And then the third one is a reverse fly position. Reverse fly motion. So I'll have an extra narrow stance with my feet together, and then I'll sit back into a hip hinge motion. I want to start by squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm going to hold this position as I rotate my arms, rotate at the shoulder, lift the weights out to the side. And do a set number of reps on this one. Something like 8 will be good. That's your reverse fly. This will be the cardio and cool down portions of day 2 in the January 2017 Strength and Conditioning Program. So for this day, I'll recommend the rowing machine. But you can use the most important part of this is choosing something that's going to get your heart rate up, give you a little bit of metabolic conditioning. And so this can be swimming, you can substitute running, biking, hiking, anything you want really. But the thing I like about the rowing machine is it's a pretty low impact machine, and it has an upper body component to it. So and it's a rowing motion at that. So it's a really great tool to use, and will definitely work your cardio. So a couple of things with this. This screen, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but just know that you can set a lot of workouts up on this, and it's actually, for what I recommend you do, this would be best to set up on the screen. But maybe more on that on another video. So get your feet strapped in, and we'll talk about the technique here. It's very similar to the deadlift motion, but there's a few little differences. So when I start on the rower, I want to reach as far as I can by bending my ankle, my knee, and my hip. And then but I still want my spine to be in a neutral position, so I'm not going to round too much. I don't want my shoulders to come detracted too much. I still want to sit my shoulders tall, shoulders retracted. Now from here, I'm going to begin by and set my shoulders down so my upper back is flexed. And I'm going to start by extending my ankles and knees, lean back a little bit, and then pull with my arms and pull the bar right above my belly button. On the way back, it'll be just the opposite. Release the arms, bend the hips, and then bend the knees and ankles. And then you link those motions and make it a pretty fluid exercise. That's the motion. And now the workout is basically equal parts work to rest. And you're going to do some rounds of this. So the baseline, a couple of baseline examples are to do a 3 minutes. You do 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 3 times. You alternatively could do something like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 5 times. But what I challenge my clients to do on this is to have their pace increase on each set. Maybe if you did 30 seconds, 5 sets of 30 seconds, you can have that last round be like kind of a cool down one. But especially for the 3 minute one, or for the 1 minute one, you want to look at your meters, how many meters or how many calories you're accumulating on this. That's your unit of measure for power output or distance. So say I got 100 meters on the first one. I want to try to get 110 on the second one, and then maybe 120 on the third one. So that's a challenge in pacing. So you don't want to go too out of the gates too hard. And that's basically it for your cardio. Get that in. Have fun with it. Now for your cool down, I just have 5 stretches for you. The first one's going to be a tricep stretch. You can stand up for this one. Start with your arm up, bend at the elbow, and then pull your arm back a little bit. Now notice that I don't have my palm in like this. I want to actively rotate so my palm stays in line with my elbow. That's going to really enhance the stretch of your tricep. And the second one, I can grab onto any pole and then turn away so I'm stretching my pec, this pec stretch. Each of these stretches you can do just 15-second holds. You can do up to a minute if you wanted to. The third one, I can hold onto that same pole with both hands now, and then sit my hips back and let my head come through my arms. This one will stretch out your lats. It feels really good. The fourth one, I'm going to come to the ground, and I'll do a pretzel stretch. I cross one leg over the other. I pull my legs into my chest, and I feel this one in my butt. And then the last one is going to be a pike stretch. So I'm going to lift my hips up into the air. My heels will be off the ground, but I'm going to try to shoot them to the ground as much as I can. And then again, I'll bring my arms through my head and try to make a nice V, inverse V shape. And that's the end of the cool down for this day.